Okay, I believe I'm live now. Sorry, it took a little longer than usual. It's just that the Wi-Fi is complete and utter crap right now. So anyway, I'm gonna give like about a minute or two so that way everybody gets the notifications and the whatnot, and then we'll go from there. And after this live, I'm gonna try and actually do at least one zodiac sign for like the tarot readings and stuff. Try to at least do one. And I'll just start with Aries. But anyway. So I guess I'll just start just to get over and done with. So, continuing the series that I started many moons ago, back when I first started this lovely channel, I was making a series called Working With, which pretty much only has goddess figures mainly in it. And I have one for Lilith, I have one for Nyx, I have one for Queen Hera, I also have one for Melania, and I don't think I have any others that I can think of off the top of my head. But I guess the next one I'll eventually be going into, if you didn't see the title of the video, is the Furies, or I prefer to call them the Erinry Sisters. And really, with these videos, there's no set format, unlike how I go, okay, here's the correspondences, here's this. No. Because what I would much rather do is to combine the historical and what they're known for and have them be adapted into modern day. And also how I've actually interacted with said divine being or entity or what have you, and my experiences with them. So, first things first, who are the Furies or the Irenry Sisters? Unknown. Mainly, there are three that are the most well known: Midgarda, Electo, and Tissanophany. Midgarda names translates to the grudging one, or the begrudged. Electo is the unceasing, and Tissanophany is the vengeful destruction. Those are the main three. But there is an unknown number amount. There could be so many more, but those are the three that are the most well known. Now, the Irenry sisters, they are noted to come from different places, like different parental origin. But there are some that state that when Kronos, the Titan, beheaded below the waist his father, Uranus, when the fell into the sea, that's where Aphrodite emerged from. But then the blood that fell onto the earth, that became the Erinrys and the Furies, the Erinry sisters. But there's an alternative that also states that they are daughters of Nyx, which is the same which is the first primordial to exist. Because from chaos came Nyx, and then everything follows afterwards. But then again, it just depends on which route you want to go with. Me personally, I either or, but because Nyx, actually, one of her daughters, Nemesis, is also about something pertaining to judication. Except Nemesis is the goddess who is resets the scales perfectly even. So if you're somebody who's really up there, she'll actually get a hold of you, bring you back down. If you're somebody who's too low in life, she'll grab you and lift you back up. She's like the most chaotic neutral, like perfectly balancing you're going to get. And it can be either a good or bad thing. It just all depends. Though she also does do retribution, but it has to be justified. But the Irenry sisters, instead, they were known to be pretty much tasked by the divines of Greek and the Olympians to actually be commanded, and they actually went out and punished wrongdoers, especially those who either kill their mother or father, because that's how they were born from. Uranus's blood coming from the now severed man part got onto the earth. So they actually take a huge distaste for having a child cause harm or even kill their mother or father. And there's this, and actually, let me see. I just remembered I have a drill deck. Here it is. It actually does kind of share a general idea of what they look like. I do not know, don't know the name of this deck, but let's see. Okay. That right here. You see the ones in the corner? Let me turn that off. See the three in the corner right there? That's the Irenry Sisters. Snakes for hair, wearing black. There's three of them. Then here is the Nine of Swords showing them. And how that depiction is, like aiming swords right for his head. That's essentially what they did to whomever asked assistance from them, and if it was just. But even then, too, if somebody made a wrong crime, especially like oath breaking, because the Irenaries were able to be Electo, Megara, and Tissanophany. Yes, Michael. But when you have anybody break an oath, or essentially do something that brings immense harm to another individual, or anything of the such, the Erinrys could be petitioned to actually have them go after the wrongdoer and punish them. And I can't remember the individual's name from the story. No, he was being harassed by the Erinrys and was actually taken to Athens and ordered to go that way by the Oracle Delphi because the Erinrys were like on his tail, tormenting the living heck out of him. So he ended up going to Athens to get assistance, and then Athena came in, got involved, and then actually had a trial come about from it. So both sides put up their argument, and it was split down 50-50. So Athena was the casting vote to see if she was to remain getting harassed by the Erinrys or to be spared from them. Athena made the choice to pardon him. The Erinry sisters were not pleased with that and threatened that the entire city of Athens would be just completely I wouldn't say ransacked, but pretty much it's become like a slaughterhouse, metaphorically. Primarily, as far as I know, they were mainly targeted to going after mortals, I believe, but I may be wrong because I'm not sure if the Erinry sisters actually went after Kronos too. I'm not really sure because I mean that would be justified because Kronos actually, beheaded his father's part, and that's how they were born from that wrongdoing. So to me that would make sense, though. So after threatening that Athens would become pretty much a slaughterhouse, metaphorically, they were later convinced by Athena to actually not carry that out, and then they actually came to peace with it, and then they became three other goddesses of something regarding divine order. But however, though, the Irenries, in their like the way they were naturally, to put it honestly, and based on like my experience, it is much better. Like if specifically if you're going to be doing some kind of working that's a little bit overkill, but also needing to be happen to kind of either one teach somebody a lesson or to give them a harsh gut check metaphorically or have them get a tragic slip. Because the way that the Irenaries worked, as soon as you as soon as somebody tasked them to go after someone, the way that they carried it out, they either caused misfortune, literally stalked them, and actually began screaming, wailing, shrieking, like next to their ears, and continually harassed them until they went insane that they committed suicide, as is noted. Like the the individual who's being harassed by them, if they didn't atone or get any kind of divine intervention, they would have gone insane. Or until somebody actually informed the Irenaries to stop. And it's also noted too that they also assist Hades and Persephone in the underworld when interacting with those who needed to be whacked, metaphorically, like given a harsh punishment for the afterlife. And they actually do reside, I believe, in Hades too, not like currently. So, dissecting all of that, the Erinry Sisters can also sometimes be seen as like similar to how harpies are in a way, where they have wings and they have hair, but the hair is also entwined with snakes. They also can be seen armed with either something like, I don't even know how this, even I had this thing, but they would even be seen armed with something like this, but not really like a Chinese chain whip, but something that's like a nine tails. Yeah. And they would pursue the wrongdoer and actually chase after them and start flailing this nine tails thing and start hitting them with it. Yeah, I mean, the memories do not mess around, and boy, they can traumatize. So, with that in mind, when having correspondences come together with them, if you want to go like by modern day, like colors and days of the week and all that. Okay, we'll start with the simple one. The time of the day of the week. It is going to be Saturday, Mars, and Moon. But why those three? Moon. Whenever you have a divine figure that's feminine, a feminine figure, the memories are feminine. It's Moon. But what about if it's like Tsunoki, the moon guy from Shinto, then he would be Moon too. Then and if you also want to look at Amaterasu, that she would be counting as a moon too, because feminine, but at the same time sun too. So that's why when you're working with the Japanese mythology, it can get a little bit confused, but there actually can be seen for both angles. Color wise, well, for Erinry's, either black, blood red, gray. You could maybe even get away with like dark venomous green. You could even also, I think, I don't know if I said silver, but silver too. The time of the day would be usually the Irenaries tend to really go after somebody at nighttime. So usually the nighttime or when dusk is coming. That's another one. Planet wise. Well, for one, obviously the first one to me is Saturn. But why not Uranus? Isn't that like the father? Yeah, but Uranus as a planet is about innovation, and as I like to call him, the court jester, because he's so unpredictable. The Irenaries are not really unpredictable because they're in your face and they're relentless. So Saturn, as a planet, naturally is one who gives out karmic backlash and is restrictive. Just like how the Irenaries give karmic adjudication and are relentless. Saturn can be relentless too with dropping karmic, like backlashing on you and pretty much keeping you stuck in it without being able to get away from it. You could even also say Rahu, but why Rahu? What does Rahu got to do with it? Rahu, the North Node, is also known to be like a charging army. Hi, Maddie. And the Irenaries, when they are tasked, they tend to go like a charging army, like they go right at them. Whomever they're being tasked to go and give a bit of a tragic whoops to. They're relentless. They're like the best put it. Think of like how a shark is to blood. As soon as the shark gets blood, like right through the nose, it becomes relentless. Trying to think of others. Herb wise, Saturnian herbs, of course. But again, with Saturnian herbs, you have to be very careful with them because you may be dealing with something that's poisonous. That's just how Saturnian herbs and plants are. If you're not careful, you're going to get yourself either sick, they're also poisonous, and you can hurt yourself if you're not careful with them. Though something related to ebony would be a good thing to work with for them. Same with patchouli, Sir Samson snake root. Trying to think. Juniper berry would be another one. I mean, you could also say maybe dragon's blood, myrrh, if you want to be a little bit lenient with that, but mainly dragon's blood would be a good one. Patchouli leaf, vetiver, arbor vitae would be another one. Fennel, black spruce. I don't think of any others that can come to my head. Black pepper, definitely black pepper. Those are pretty much the only ones that come to mind. Crystal wise, black tourmaline, black moonstone, blue sapphire, onyx, shungite. No, shungite, not really, because it transmutes, and you don't want to. If when working with them and you're going to be sending them out to someone, you don't want them to get transmuted and all the efforts be put to waste. Hematite would be one. Shadow quartz, smoky quartz would be another. Bloodstone is another one. You could maybe get away with what is that stone called? Black shamanite. You maybe get able to midnight Lumerian jade. You might be able to get away with that one. Serpentine is another one. Snakeskin jasper is another. I think I said serpentine. Yeah, I just said that. Maybe sugilite? Maybe? That one might be a little iffy. Spinel would be one. Falcon's eye would be one. Snake eye would be another one. It's pretty much the green black of a tiger's eye. What else is there? Maybe, just maybe, you could get away with Astrate quartz, which is pretty much red quartz. Smoky quartz, shadow quartz. You could. There's one more. I'm trying to think of the name of it. Shutterkite. That was it. I don't think I can think of any other crystals of that one. So let's see. When working with them, be very sure that you want them to go and do the work for you, because the Irenrys don't pull punches. They do not pull punches. They're harsh. They're cruel. They can take somebody just going perfectly fine, flip down. Pretty sudden if the person does not have a strong mental health standing. They can literally take somebody and just cripple them. They don't mess around. If I had to put on a scale to 1 to 10 on how difficult it is to work with them, not really, because anybody can task them. But when it comes to understanding about how strong they are and how tragic they can be, I'm not really sure about the woe. I'm not entirely sure who that's referring to, so I can't say. But when it comes to, again, the effectiveness, easily it can be to a high 8, 9. But if somebody is not mentally stable, they can literally get someone put into a holding of 72 hours, because they can be quite traumatizing. So be careful with it. And the class, like their classification, well, by technicality, you could say, since they were born from a primordial, which is Uranus, you could technically consider them like Titans by technicality, because they're the child of a primordial Uranus, but also another route's Nyx, who's also a primordial, which brings Titan. So they could be from that. I'm going to be technical. And essentially how that goes, it goes human, elemental, divine, god, goddess, either or. Then it goes Titan. Then it goes primordial. And essentially the primordials are the ones that are existing, that hold everything together. So it's essentially one under. So by technicality, you could consider them a Titan. Titanessus? I don't even know what you say. But Titaness would probably be the best way to put it. So when actually working with them, you don't have... Hello, Ivy. I haven't seen you in a long time, Missy. But when working with them, you don't have to make it complicated. You don't have to be all getting every little thing and get it all picture perfect. No. You can simply just take... Here, let me grab something. Well, give me this. Now, let me see. Give me a piece of this thing that it has nothing on it. What you can do, if you just want to keep it simple, And that's probably the best thing to do. Okay, good, Ivy, good. What you can do is just simply have a piece of paper, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna be making a triangle, but in the center of this triangle, we're gonna put. Let's see here. We're just gonna put twat head right here. We'll just write twat head right there. Then what we're gonna do, we're gonna start by now putting one Erinry Sisters name on the bottom. So let's put the one with the longest name. That would be. And when you're writing this, try your best to keep whatever writing instrument you have and keeping it on the paper. Write it out. And yes, you might have to write in cursive. If you don't know how to write in cursive, well, where the heck have you been? I mean, I learned how to write cursive in 3rd grade, for bloody sakes. So, okay, so it goes like that. Then there. And then going upward, you pretty much put in the next Furies name. And then you come back down with the other Erinry's name. So in this case, it's going to be like that. That. And then as soon as you get all the names around there, you then can go around and double check to see if your T's, Q's, and all that's there. So now you see that I have Twathead in the middle, and now the 3 main Erinry names are surrounding them. So from there, if you want to, because now since you have the triangle there, you can actually flip it upside down, and then that's when you can have a square trapping it. So that way, essentially, this individual is now stuck with it. But if you want to be extra nasty and make it something that, they're going to be having a hard time to get rid of, start in the center. Then you're going to go make a figure 8 slightly out of the box, back to the middle, slightly out of the box, back up through the same middle. And then from that same point, you're going to make another 8 going out of the box slightly, then back up, and then another 8 coming out of the box slightly, then back through. So now you have 2 infinity symbols going in both cardinal directions. So now this little thing, now you got to do is activate it. If you know how to make a sigil and marking like that, you should know how to activate it. But anyway, as soon as you activate this thing, you can now make it like a, if you want to be actually really technical, ceremonial with this thing, what you can do is now actually make out a written I'm just going to call it a plate because that sounds natural to me. You can write out like a plea of assistance to the sisters. It can be something as simple as, I'm just going to come up with something on the fly. Like here, something as simple as, don't need that no more. But now the thing is, when it comes to the Irenaries, it's up to the individual. Sending them up after, well, because a grudge, it depends, because Megara, her name is the grudging one. So the only way to disband them, you can either one, petition either Nyx to assist, two, atone if there is any kind of wrongdoing, or three, you're gonna may have to bamboozle your way out of it. Meaning that you may have to loophole your way out of it. For an example, say if you find out that someone's actually sicked them on you, remember, like what I've taught everybody many, many times, something comes into your spaces and messing with you. Who are you? Why are you shrieking in my ear every night? You three. Do I even know you? You can ask and step up to anything that comes at you. Doesn't matter who, what, or where it came from. Pantheon-wise, it doesn't matter. You can tell it, or them, what are you doing here? Okay. So this individual has a grudge against me for what now? Something back since high school? Okay. But why are you screaming at my ear, though? Because they asked you to? Because they felt wrong? Okay, well, how's that my problem that they're still having a hissy fit over it? They don't have have that sense of closure? Okay, then why don't you have them go back, and why don't you three go back and tell them to contact me and we can settle it then? As an example. But again, that's just an example. But what's petty to someone else may be severe to somebody else. Just that way you know. Like, for an example, one such thing is, like, say, for example, if somebody is putting somebody else at risk, like somebody else's well-being at risk, and this individual is known to be putting people at risk, and of course, that's fine. But now, say if somebody is having a hissy fit because they want somebody that somebody else is with, and the person that they want doesn't leave the other person that they're with, the person they're with out of the picture, so the Erinrys will probably, that's the petty stuff. Because now they're looking at, because I mean, for me, my point I'm looking at is like, what's the wrongdoing? Jealousy? You wish you had that? Okay. They didn't do anything wrong. Probably you just didn't work hard enough to get it. Or you just didn't jump for him, metaphorically. But essentially, think of like how when Zeus was, being a two-time and twat, having the Irenrys get involved with that, now that's different. That's being an oath breaker. Irenrys and the Furies can't be sent off to go after oath breakers, according to Homer. And, we're talking about the Greek poet, not Homer Simpson. But as a general idea for like a small little play assistance, sisters of three who all mortals flee, make him bleed, so might just be freed. Yeah, well, that one, not really, because really there's no wrongdoing that's happened. If somebody's jealous because someone has something that they want, but the other person did not do anything wrong to them, that's not actually taking this to an entity that's all about karmically bringing adjudication harshly to someone. Because what's the wrongdoing? You can't. When it comes to spirituality, working with these entities and spiritual beings, they're not like hitmen. They're not. That's like trying to go to, say, Andros, who and telling him that you want to have someone get like decimated for just looking at the wrong way. I don't think Andres may not really think about the reasoning is just behind that, because it's just like you just got a glare of someone you don't even know. And if somebody is just that too quick triggered, the best put it, it probably won't even be heard. And it won't be responded to. But I'll just say this thing again. Sisters of three, whom all mortals flee, make him bleed, so my just be freed. And by so my just, meaning that so what is just for me can be freed to me, if that makes sense. So now you can either, one, take this little symbol, you can actually charge it with either dragon's blood ink or put it through dragon's blood incense smoke. You could also put on any of the other plants and herbals that I've taught about. Or if you really want to be nasty, really nasty, you can make a puppet of this person. Again, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It could even be a little molding wax. You can make a little person, but fold this thing up, cut this thing out, roll it away from you, fold it, pretty much mold the person, make a small little cavity so this little thing wrapped up can go into, stuff it in the person, get some more of that molding wax, cover the top of it, squish it, and then make that small little wax figure of this twat head. Make it be known that this little figurine is now the twat head. Anything and everything done to it, including what's on it, takes hold. So now this thing pretty much bypasses any protection, and it just grabs a hold of him. So now that thing is going to be active until one, you dismantle it. You take apart the figurine and take this out, and you either burn it or you throw it over your shoulder at a crossroads and don't look back. Or if somebody wants to do it, they can either, one, do spiritual work to actually find the part where this is sitting in the doll, and actually cut that part off of them energetically. But that's really painful, and you don't want to do that. Or two, someone's actually able to go in and mitigate this and transmute it. Or with me, just bamboozle it. That's another way. So overall, the Irenry Sisters. Overall, if you want three entities or even more, that you want someone to have a big wake up call with a tragic slip involved, this may be the one. But this is one that you don't want to bring out all the time. Still, you give your recognition and do give your appreciation if they do choose to assist in all that they do also. But the thing is, again, these are three that you don't want to consistently work with, because you can actually see their qualities rub off onto you. It can potentially happen. And we don't want you to become a big meanie head. But anyway, so that's that. So I'm going to take a short little break. I'll be back in about 30 minutes. And then I'll just start doing... I think I'll just do one sign today, and I'll just do... Or would you guys prefer me to do a pick a stack like before? Like a stack of 4. So let me hear. Like whichever one's preferred. Yeah, like 1 to 4. Like stack 1, stack 2, or stack 3. Or the zodiac sign one. Because, I mean, whichever one's more desired for, I'll do that one. Oh, I'm getting old. Okay, we have one for pick a stack. Okay. Okay. Okay, so what looks like pick a stack it's gonna be. So give me about 30 minutes just to relax my throat. And then we'll go with pick a stack. And I mean if you want to, you can pick your number now, but I'll be back in like 30 minutes.